Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, self-acclaimed leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, is released after meeting his bail conditions. Police in Borno State arrest a man believed to be a key supplier of food and petrol to Boko Haram. The Vice President meets with United Nations donor partners at the presidential villa on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. The United States President Donald Trump open to dialogue with North Korea on Pyongyang's nuclear and missile development.
And on business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria removes excess liquidity from the money market to support the naira.
On sports news, 32 primary schools begin campaign in the Lagos preliminaries of the 2017 Channels National Kids Cup.
From Abuja, the Independent National Electoral Commission seeks the support of the Nigerian Air Force in the safe deployment of electoral materials for the 2019 elections in Borno State.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
We begin tonight with the release of the self-styled leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, from the custody of the Kuje prisons following the bail granted to him by Justice Binta Nyako. Kanu, who was brought to the Federal High Court in Abuja, regained his freedom after reflecting and perfecting his bail condition. Accompanied by family members, lawyers and sureties, Kanu signed his own portion of the bail paper around 6:35 p.m. to pave way for his release from Kuje prisons. Justice Nyako had on Tuesday granted Mr. Kanu bail in the sum of 300 million naira bail bond, 3 sureties, and on the condition that he will not be at a public rally or host one himself. The court, however, noted that the sureties to be provided by Mr. Kanu should include a highly respected Jewish leader, a highly placed individual of Igbo extraction and in the ranking of a senator, and a respected individual resident in Abuja with proof of ownership of landed property. Justice Binta Nyako also asked Mr. Kanu to deposit his Nigerian and British passport with the registrar of the court. According to Justice Nyako, the bail was granted to enable Mr. Kanu attend to his ailing health condition. The Borno State Command of the Nigerian Police has uncovered a syndicate of suspects supplying terrorists with daily need from Maiduguri. The Commissioner of Police, Damian Chukwu, said in a news conference that 2 men have been so far nabbed for supplying fuel and food items to Boko Haram terrorists at Alagarno and other camps in the bush. Mr. Chukwu says that a suspect was arrested by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad after receiving information, and upon interrogation, he confessed to having a relationship with the terrorist. The suspect was caught with a total sum of 10,000 naira on him, with which he was meant to buy motorcycle spare parts for them. He also confessed that 15 other accomplices engaged in the same act, running errands for the insurgents. In a separate operation, a 19-year-old boy was also nabbed posing in military uniforms and brandishing a gun he used to terrorize and extort money from unsuspecting residents. Others arrested and paraded include cattle rustlers and robbers using tricycle in the metropolis.
One Modu, Bulama Mustafa, alias Modu, Maidara, male of Jimtilo village, Kondu Aliye, is contracted to be conveying fuel and food items to Boko Haram terrorists at Alagrano and other camps. That he operates with a green color pickup vehicle and usually conveys firewood on his return from the bush. But they'll tell him, we'll allow you to take your firewood or whatever you want from the bush, and then give him money to buy some food items, petroleum and other things. So following the above information, I had to detail the SARS team to step up action and ensure the culprit is arrested.
In the meantime, the U.S. government says it is impressed with the performance of the Nigerian troops in the war against insurgency. The government also acknowledged the huge sacrifices made by members of the families of the troops fighting terrorism in the northeast. The United States ambassador to Nigeria, Stuart Symington, in a visit to the headquarters of the Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State, encouraged Nigerians to be patriotic and support one another, as only they can fight and defeat insurgency. This, he says, will be most effective way when people begin to show love and respect. The Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole Major General Lucky Rabo thanked the United States military for support and partnership with the Nigerian military in the fight against insurgency. 6 people suspected to be involved in the Ile-Ife ethnic clash which occurred on March the 8th this year have been arraigned before Justice Kudirat Akanu at the Osun State High Court, Osogbo. The charges for which the suspects are accused include murder and armed robbery. But while Justice Akanu has ordered that the accused persons be remanded in custody.
The 6 suspects, which include a traditional ruler, all pleaded not guilty to the 14-count charge bordering on murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and armed robbery, arson, and possession of grievous weapons. The suspects were arrested in March after the communal clash that occurred in Sabo area of Ile-Ife between the Ile-Ife indigents and the Arewa community. The prosecuting and defense counsels speak on the hearing thus far.
They have been arraigned today by the Inspector General of Police because they desire the Inspector General of Police to ensure that the society is free of crime. And that is why effort was made immediately to arrest those people and then, without waste of time, to arraign in court so that justice will be done.
We tried our best to make a oral application for their bail, but the court says no. We have to come by way of, we know this, but everything in life is trial. And there is no law that says we cannot do it by oral application. And that's why, and if the court says it's the court's discretion, we have no choice than to follow the order of the court.
Many lives were lost in the clash as property worth millions of naira was also destroyed. The accused persons were not granted bail as requested by the defense counsel. The judge ordered that the accused persons be remanded and adjourned the case to the 14th, 15th and 16th of June 2017 for hearing.
A 5th prosecution witness has testified today at the Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja in the case of alleged bribery against a federal High Court judge, Justice Rita Ofili Ojumogobia. The judge is standing trial along with the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Godwin Obla, who is accused by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission of bribing the judge with 5 million naira. Justice Ofili Ojumogobia, on her part, is being tried on allegations of bribery and unlawful enrichment. The prosecution witness, an assistant controller of customs, Omale Uja, told Justice Hakeem Oshodi how the sum of 12 million naira was paid into the accounts of the judge. He said that sometimes in 2014 he was instructed by one Musa Tahir, a deputy controller general of customs, to pay the money into the account of the company Nigel and Khalid Limited, owned by Justice Ofili Ojumogobia. The suspended chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin, will know the fate of his legal challenge on May the 10th. That's the date fixed by the Federal High Court in Abuja to determine whether or not to stay proceedings in suits challenging the legality of his suspension. Justice John Soho fixed the date after hearing arguments for and against an application by 2 members of the House of Representatives, Honorable Nicholas Osai, Chairman, House Committee on Ethics, and Honorable Okejev, Chairman, House Committee on Rules and Business. In their motion for stay of proceedings filed by their counsel, Mr. Hakeem Karim, the 2 lawmakers informed the court that they had already filed a notice of appeal against the April 13 ruling of the court, which disallowed them from joining the suit as interested parties. However, counsel to the suspended member, Mr. Femi Falana, opposed the motion and asked the court to discountenance it on the grounds that those seeking to stop the substantive matter have no locus standi, that be locus standi to do it.
The defendants in this suit have been up to some antics by way of frivolous applications. Well, and the court will deal with everything at the proper time. They have brought up the issue of consolidation, then the issue of people seeking to be joined from outside, who have variously described during the argument as strangers to this suit. The court, I believe, will see through it and do what is right in the circumstances at the next agenda, which is the 10th day of May 2011.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, is to adopt the whistleblowing policy of the federal government to curb human trafficking. This hint was dropped at a media briefing in Abuja by the Executive Secretary of the agency, Mrs. Julie Oka Donley, who says that whistleblowers will get 5% of the proceeds realized from arrested human trafficking syndicates. The NAPTIP boss also says that the agency has started a weekly sensitization campaign all over the country.
The whistleblower policy has in no small measure yielded some level of success as more loot have been recovered from individuals across the country. Agencies like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, with actionable tips to track and recover stolen government funds, are pace-setters in this direction. The anti-graft agency retrieved $9.8 million from Andrew Yakubu, former Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, thanks to whistleblowing. The whistleblower is usually entitled to between 2% to 5% of the recovered loot. However, plans are underway to introduce same by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and Other Related Matters, NAPTIP. Any Nigerian who exposes the activity of human trafficking gets a percentage for reporting the crime.
It's a money-making business because they are definitely going to be compensated. You don't whistleblow for nothing. Something must come, something must give. So, I mean, when we put everything in place, they will know what it is, what is in it for them, but there's definitely a reward for every whistleblower.
This effort, according to the NAPTIP boss, will be done through enlightenment across the country.
We create awareness everywhere, education. They need to be educated on the ills of this evil that is going on. We need to educate them. And it's gone beyond poverty. I think it's a case of moral decadence. So we also plan to discuss with their parents as well, especially mothers. Some mothers are actually the cause of their daughters' predicaments because they put them under so much pressure to go out there and succeed, in quotes, if you know what I mean. So education is just key.
Although the policy appears to be a laudable one, it will require the cooperation of all to reduce the menace of human trafficking in Nigeria.